Obi-Wan series starring Ewan McGregor himself. And he recently did an interview here a couple days ago. Actually, I think it was yesterday. I say a couple days ago, but it was yesterday. It's late right now. But he shed some light on I think John, you and I were talking about this too. I mean, he kind of said nothing too. He didn't like give anything away about the story or anything kind of new information wise. He was pretty much just saying like, hey, yeah, he's like uh, kind of more excited about doing this than he was about the prequels, which I thought was pretty interesting. And then there was one line. I don't know if it's in this exact interview I have pulled up here, but he said that it's going to be like a one-off story,
Mhm.
which I think everybody was kind of expecting it to be a one-off story. I don't know, I don't know. Since they're working in such a small time frame, I don't think anyone really expected like multiple seasons of this to go on. But at the same time, we didn't really have any kind of 100% confirmation about it. So that's some interesting news, and that kind of makes me happy about it in one way, because as much as I am like looking forward to seeing Ewan McGregor return to Obi-Wan, because arguably he was the absolute best part of the prequels. I mean, I think unanimously anybody can say whatever they want about the prequels, but I think everybody would say that he did a pretty damn good job as Obi-Wan and made that character his own and made it. I don't know, he did a really good job making it both likable, made it relate to Sir Alec Guinness's Obi-Wan in some ways, but also being like clearly his own Obi-Wan, but
Yeah.
at no point I never think of them as different characters. You know what I mean?
No.
I think it's the same guy. So I
Yep.
think he did his job very well in that regard. And I don't know, I guess it was also kind of interesting too just to hear him say like he's pretty blunt about like knowing that how much I don't know, like people didn't really like the prequels, and like the kind of back he's very ear to the ground in that way. 'Cause he
Mhm.
says where's the quote here? I don't know. He goes on to say, I don't want to just like search and read here just to find the quote, but actually, I think he says right here. It's like our first films weren't much liked when they came out, but my generation who loved the first one, and he's like, and I think people in our generation wanted to feel the way that they felt when they saw those first three movies when they were kids, and George Lucas wanted to take our ones in a different direction. He had a different idea, and I mean, you know what I mean? Like he knows. Like we were saying earlier, George had a plan for his movies, and he stuck to the plan, whether or not people liked it or not. He just
Yeah.
went with it, and I don't know. I like that, and then like just like hearing him say that he's like excited to come back to it. So
Well, it's all these quotes are definitely encouraging. I like when you get an actor who's honest, because then it makes all the typical PR stuff, like him saying he's more excited um, for these than he was the prequels. It makes it ring a little more. If he's being honest with the other stuff he's saying, why would he be blowing smoke with this comment? So that's encouraging. I'll also say that I was actually a little surprised to hear that it might be a one-off thing. Not for any other reason other than when it was announced as a series. Had it been announced, had they just stuck the word mini in front, then I would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, perfect, one-off thing. The fact that it was presented as a Star Wars series in the same vein as like The Mandalorian, which is clearly going to be an ongoing thing, I was
right.
surprised to see as well. Not that that's a bad thing. That could be the best choice in the world for them, because as we've seen time and time again, plenty of series don't know when to end. And if they have a
Mhm.
specific story and they have, they can really focus on their story and make it, not have uh, extraneous episodes that don't tie in. They're just fillers. You can weed all that out by having focus and telling a singular story that you want. So I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm all for it. I just was a little surprised because I could be more made of.
Well, I think too with that like this project. I mean, initially was going to be like there was it was going to be a movie, and then it was going to be an 8-part series, like an 8 episode to series in general. And then there was rumors that they didn't know, like they like a while back they said that they completely scrapped all the scripts that they had they had written for this thing, and they had someone else come in to rewrite everything. So a lot of people are thinking, okay, are they going to just go back to just making it like a movie but still put it on Disney Plus, so it's just one 2-hour adventure, just a regular movie? Or are they just really gonna, maybe they're gonna do a 4 episode like miniseries and just call it like a 4-hour movie essentially, and like cut it that way. So it does make it kind of puts it more up in the air as to where, like, I don't know. I don't want them to do 8 episodes just to do 8 episodes, just because
Sure.
that's what Mandalorian did. I would almost feel, depending, and obviously this all is contingent on what their idea for the story is. I feel like with the time period they're kind of stuck in, I don't know if you really need like 8 hours to tell like a compelling story. I mean, there's like an 11-year gap of time here, and like we know most of it he spent just being a hermit on Tatooine watching over Luke. So I mean, I don't know what else he did and whatnot there. So that's kind of like, it's like a nice time window for them to kind of do whatever they want, but at the same time, they are limited in some ways.
Well, and do you think that they could, with the knowledge that this is probably and potentially a one and done type deal, do you think maybe this is a time jump situation where you get the first few months after he's handed Luke over, and you get how he kind of establishes himself and how he goes about his interactions with them, and then you jump 4 years in the future for the next episode, and you see some event like somebody's figured out that Luke is there and they're coming again, and Obi-Wan has to stop him, and then you jump 4 years in the future, and so you get little snippets of his time. And then the last episode is, the day before Luke comes and finds him in A New Hope. You kind of bridge that gap over a period of time.
I do you think they'll end it that way? You think they'll end it kind of like they did Rogue One, like have it tie right in? Or because I for whatever reason in my own head canon, I kind of had it in my mind that they were gonna tell like a story, like let's say he's been there for 2 years, like, so he's been watching over Luke for 2 years, but then so he's still young, like the shit just happened, you know what I mean? But he knows, like, after 2 years of time, he has a pretty good idea that like Luke's being well looked after, right? But then someone comes and finds him from his past, be it just someone from the Republic, another Jedi, who knows what it is, but someone comes and needs his help, because just like Leia said, like he's their only hope, right? He's the only one they knew he was there. He's the only person who can help them, and it takes him off world, and he has to actually do something, and he has to find someone to like stay to look after Luke, and like, cause he's that's his thing now, right? So, but.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I kind of was expecting it to maybe be like something with like the Mandalorians in some way, and they, because he's got that whole thing with the Clone Wars with that girl,
Yeah,
so they could always like explore like something like that, like because he would leave to go handle that stuff, because he did during the Clone Wars. He spent a lot of time on Mandalore, so
yeah.
like they could always like, and not to mention since Mandalorian's like popping off right now, it'd be an
Sure.
easy way to be an easy in for the audience, and then also like if people have watched Clone Wars and stuff like that and actually know Obi-Wan's history with the Mandalorians, then it would just actually make a lot of sense for him to have to leave, so long as maybe it's a Mandalorian who comes and needs his help, so then he can like convinces Mandalorians to stay and watch Luke, because then he'll feel safe enough to leave. At least he'll be like, okay, I can go like do this, but I need someone to watch this kid, or I'm not leaving. Like that kind of thing.
I hate to even say this because I hate to think that decisions are made this way, but
I think
from
I know what you're
a
gonna say.
business perspective, yeah, tie the two together. I mean, I know for a fact I have a couple of friends who, when news dropped when the Mandalorian was coming out, returning, they said, okay, well, I'm gonna have to pick my Disney Plus subscription back up as soon as that comes out. So I have friends that they add and drop these services when the shows that they want to see are on. So
Right.
why not tie it into Mandalorian? People another reason to continue having the service in the downtime between seasons of Mandalorian, because hopefully I'm guessing Obi-Wan will be running concurrently with Mandalorian. So yeah, from a business perspective, that makes perfect sense to try and tie those to get shows.
Yeah, and they wouldn't have to do it necessarily to where and I wouldn't necessarily suggest that they cross paths with Pedro Pascal's Mandalorian, because we don't really know what the time frame is really. Like between the Obi-Wan show in general, like who knows? We just know that it's going to be in like that 11-year window or whatever it is. Maybe it's a 16-year window. I don't know what it is, but it's just that time period from when he gets Luke to Tatooine to his aunt and uncle, and before A New Hope. Like that's it. So maybe 16 years. I guess that would make more sense, because that's when Luke was 16, right? And A New Hope. I think that's what he was supposed to be, even though Mark Hamill was older. But so I mean, if Ahsoka Tano's still around, I mean, I don't know. I guess they could. It could be a completely concurrent thing.
Yeah,
like, they could, I guess, theoretically make it to where they could cross over with the Mandalorian directly. I would just think that you could connect it in a way just with Mandalorians in general, not Pedro Pascal. And I just think because that's the thing with Mandalorian, just because it was like Star Wars in a lot of ways, but like Mandalorian is appealing to like a lot of people that aren't just Star Wars fans. Like yes, it's big in Star Wars, and Star Wars has like a mass global appeal, but there's a lot of people I know who like don't really like Star Wars all that much, but they like the Mandalorian. So like I've at least found that Mandalorian has had a little bit different of an effect on people, as to where like it can reach your non-typical Star Wars fans, and people find it compelling. So I could see them kind of just wanting to just have some connective tissue in some way, just for fans, just to like, now that they're familiar with Mandalorians, and Obi-Wan has a history with Mandalorians in general, why not connect them? And it would just make sense. Like there's a lot they could do with it, and you could inherently learn more about the Mandalorian by that, like just Obi-Wan kind of teaching you this more Mandalorian lore. Like, because you would just learn more stuff about Mandalorian culture by him going off and doing something on Mandalore. But who knows? It could literally be anything. I just think it'd be kind of boring for it to be like, because I know a lot of people are like, do you think they'll just bring Darth Maul back? It could be because, that's how, for anyone, I don't know, if you've never seen Clone Wars, like, surprise, like, Darth Maul's not. To what? Yeah, or Solo. If you've never seen Solo, like, Darth Maul survived, the prequel. He did a lot of shit. He did a lot of stuff in that time period. He took over Mandalore as being one of them, and he had the Darksaber that Moff Gideon has, and like all this stuff. He did a lot of stuff before he died. He even went and fought Darth Sidious. Didn't win. But and he's got a brother. So his brother is actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like but people were like, "Well, you think you'll bring him back?" And it's like, it would go against canon, since Clone Wars is canon. Like they can't really. They'd have to retell that same story, which I don't really know how compelling it'd be to do that.
I didn't think about this, but when you were talking, about, I was talking about, you do those time jumps, and the last episode is like the day before Luke comes and gets him. But we know from A New Hope that Luke knows who Obi-Wan is. It's old man.
That old hermit?
The old hermit. So that he knows who he is, which had some interactions. So with not being able to obviously have Hamill come and play that part and play opposite him, then I think you're the only way, and you got to figure they're going to have Ewan McGregor's character meet Luke at some point during that series. You get right. I mean, he's there watching.
Maybe like a kid comes up.
Exactly. So the only way you can do it is to cast a young child as young child Luke, and
Right.
that way you're not doing some weird either CGI stuff where you're trying to de-age Mark Hamill and have him do it. You know, the much easier route off cast a young actor, a very young actor, and have him interact with him. But I mean, right? They've got, if he's watching over him, you got to have that scene at some point.
You'd think. I don't know if you necessarily need it though. Will they
Okay.
probably do it? Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they probably will. But if they do it, it would probably. I mean, it all depends on the time frame they want to do this story in. Because, like I said, I'm trying to put myself in the mind of like an Obi-Wan, and if I were Obi-Wan, I wouldn't want to like. Let's say this whatever he has to do takes him off world. Okay, like I'm going under that mindset, and I don't think me being Obi-Wan would want to leave him without anyone there to like look after him unless he was of a certain age, like at least maybe 5 or 6. So maybe he's not just because he could handle himself at 5 or 6 by any means, but because he's been there for 5 years and nothing's happened. He's
Mhm.
learned that no one's came after him in 5 years. He knows that his aunt and uncle are keeping him safe and like yada yada yada. So he would be like a lot more comfortable to like leave and like not be watching over him for X amount of time.
All
So
right. You've
but
got my brain jumping all over the place. You're talking about him going off world or something. What if
mhm.
what if he gets a message from is it Smits, Jimmy Smits, Bail Organa, and says that there's an issue with Leia and he has to go uh, investigate
I mean, he
something that's
could.
going on with Leia, and that's what takes him off world. Because Jimmy Smits they could have come back, right? He's still
Yeah.
he,
I mean,
he could reprise his role for
yeah,
it, and
he could be playing Bail Organa. Well, that's the thing
yeah,
too, though. He I mean, they could do a lot with that. I wouldn't actually be surprised if they could use Bail Organa even just to be the one who gets in contact with him to have
yeah,
him do a mission because he knows him. He knows where he's at because obviously he he has Leia and then Ben
yeah,
has Luke. So
yep.
if Bale needed assistance, on Alderaan or something,
Mhm.
or is Alderaan blowing up right now? No, it hasn't been
No, no, no,
blown up yet. It hasn't been blown up yet.
yeah,
Yeah, it hasn't been blown up yet. So like I think that would make more sense. Like I think that'd probably be the best way to do it because Obi would trust Bale. Bale would be
yep.
able to send people to watch over Luke in his stead.
Mhm.
So whether it has anything to do with like Leia and like being in trouble or anything, like because she's probably gonna be she's the same age as Luke, and if he's
Sure.
watching over her, who knows? But he would be a really good way to tie in, like, there's trust there.
Yep.
Like, he would leave Obi-Wan would definitely leave to go help Bale do something.
Yeah.
And, like, so I think that's pretty, like, that's a pretty genius idea, just including him in general. And it's just, like, more connective tissue. Like
Lucasfilm, contact us at
yeah.
honestanduneducated@gmail.com, and
Yeah.
we'll be
Yeah, we
happy to
got
break this story down for you.
we got plenty of ideas, especially ways you could redo the sequel trilogy. So, or just fix it in extended canon in some way. So you let us
Boy.
know. And again, that email is honestanduneducated@gmail.com. Honestanduneducated@gmail.com. Hit us up. But yeah, I think that's actually a pretty good idea. I think using Bail Organa would be like great. It's actually smart too, because like Jimmy Smits he'd be about the same age. Like he would look fine. Like he would
Sure.
look perfect. Like,
He's aged just as much as Ewan McGregor has.
yeah,
Or-
that would work out really well. And
Yeah.
again, like there's trust there. He would leave to go help him. They would do whatever. That's a good
Yeah.
idea, man. But I'm excited for the show regardless. I wish the only thing
Sure.
I want to know is more about like the time period and what they're gonna do because like it just leaves a lot of questions and it also is like they're so limited in that time frame. But there's also
Mhm.
so much they could do, assuming they kind of take that route. Like I said, and if they have to take him off world for some reason, you could do anything. You keep him on
Yeah.
Tatooine, like really not much he can do. Like,
Yeah.
what's he gonna do on Tatooine? Because we know nothing really happened until Darth Maul showed up, and then I mean that fight didn't last very long either.
Yeah.
Like, so that was kind of disappointing. So I'd like to see them. I would have really, if we were gonna like retcon stuff, the only thing I would be fine with them retconning is the Darth Maul fight, like the final one. Did you see that in the Rebels?
I haven't seen the end of Rebels. No.
Well, spoiler alert. Right? Darth Maul finds Obi-Wan on Tatooine, like, and he's like old man Ben, and
Yeah.
he kills him in like 2 seconds. Like Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul in like 2 seconds. It's like
Yeah.
not even a fight. It was like really disappointing, like in a lot of ways, And it's like
Yeah.
I would have much rather them had like, I don't know, a more epic battle or something.
Sure.
Like, I don't know. But I mean, it was kind of poetic because he was like, Darth Maul's been gone through so much shit, and then like Obi-Wan just like kind of like easily beats him, and he just kind of like holds him there while he dies, and like Obi wasn't like mad at him or anything, so it was like kind of nice, I guess. But
Yeah.
Darth Maul finally gets like peace in some way. He's like, he was almost just like a misunderstood dude, man. Darth Maul was like the best character that Star Wars has ever had on screen, and they ruined him in the movies because they never used him. Like he didn't do anything in the Phantom Menace other than look cool. But then he had all this rich lore that happened in the Clone Wars and Rebels, and does so much cool stuff. Bring him back. And then now
Yeah.
Solo, he could have popped off in Solo 2, and now that's never gonna fucking happen. That made no money. Just disappointing. I just want more Darth Maul.
One day.
Yeah.
One day though. One day you'll get. Maybe one day you'll get a Darth Maul. Just his own solo movie.
That would have been Solo too.
Yeah, but he would have been a tangent character to Solo main character. I think you might. I don't know. You just give Disney time. They'll find a way to monetize.
That's true. Yeah. I guess the problem is too, is just like mainly like I said, like that's why I wouldn't want them to bring him back even just to like redo that scene, just because like it's already been played out. We've seen so much Darth Maul at this point. Like it's all like extended canon and like the Clone Wars and stuff, but it's like he's had it was a long arc. Like, there was like how many seasons of Clone Wars? Like 6 or 7 or whatever, and he was in like all of it. Did you watch the most recent thing that they did, like on Disney Plus, Clone Wars?
No,
You didn't watch that?
no, I haven't kept up with it.
You should watch it. Watch the last 4 episodes. You don't have to watch anything else. Open up the most recent season of Clone Wars and watch the last 4 episodes. It goes over the entire Clone Wars, like it goes over Order 66.
Yep.
And it shows Order 66 from Ahsoka Tano's perspective with the clones.
Okay.
So like they all turn on her, like while she's like living through it and stuff. And then like Darth Maul is there, obviously, because that was it. But so it's like Ahsoka Tano and Darth Maul in these last 4 episodes are like the main characters, and then it shows like Anakin turning into Darth Vader at the very end. Like then it shows how that affected like Ahsoka and everything. Then you see later, I guess you didn't watch Clone Wars and Rebels?
I watched Clone Wars the first few seasons of it.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. I honestly got rid of it. And so I was like relying on the DVDs when they were coming out, and then at some point I didn't catch up with them. It's one of those things like I have on my list to go back and catch up on. But.
Yeah, well, go watch just the last 4 episodes of that season, just because it was a nice it was nice to see all that stuff happen from like Ahsoka's perspective with all the clones turning on her, and then obviously the stuff with Darth Maul was cool, and then seeing her see Anakin become Vader was also just, I've said poetic like 15 times today, but it was poetic for her, like you to see her go through that, because then in Rebels, because we had already seen in Rebels her confrontation with Vader himself, and like that's when she kind of found out it was Anakin, because like she didn't know it was Anakin. But then like with this, like I don't know, it was nice. You should watch it. It's good stuff. But